Marcus Williams walked through the busy spaceport, carrying his small travel bag over his shoulder. The massive building was filled with creatures from different worlds. Some had blue skin and 4 arms. Others looked like giant insects walking, on 2 legs. The sounds of alien languages mixed together in the air, creating a strange music that Marcus had grown used to over the years. He checked his ticket one more time. Premium class, seat 12A. He had saved money for 8 months to afford this trip. As a Starship engineer, Marcus worked hard but didn't make the huge salaries that some people thought he did. This vacation to the resort colonies of Kepler 442b was something he had dreamed about for years. The boarding gate for the Stellar Dawn was crowded. The luxury cruise ship was one of the biggest in this part of the galaxy. It could carry 3,000 passengers and took 2 weeks to reach the beautiful resort worlds. Marcus had seen pictures of crystal blue oceans and golden beaches. After spending most of his time in the dark metal corridors of space stations, he was ready for some sunshine. "All premium class passengers may now board," announced a voice over the speakers. The words came out in several different languages, including the clicking sounds that the insect-like Zephyrians used to talk. Marcus joined the line of passengers walking toward the ship. Most of them were aliens. He saw wealthy Centauri traders with their expensive clothes and jewelry. A group of tall, thin creatures from the Vega system chatted in their musical language. A few other humans were scattered in the crowd, but not many. Humans were still new to this part of space, and most couldn't afford luxury travel. The ship's entrance was impressive. Smooth white walls curved upward, and soft blue lights guided passengers to their sections. Marcus showed his ticket to a flight attendant near the door. The creature had gray skin and large black eyes. It looked at his ticket, then at Marcus with what seemed like surprise. "Premium class is this way, sir," the attendant said in accented English. Its voice sounded like it was not used to saying "sir" to a human. Marcus followed the signs through the ship's corridors. Everything was clean and expensive looking. The floors were made of some kind of smooth stone that felt warm under his feet. Art from different worlds decorated the walls. He passed a restaurant where alien passengers were already ordering drinks that glowed different colors. When he found his seat, Marcus felt a moment of pride. 12A was a wide, comfortable chair that could turn into a bed. It had its own entertainment screen and a small table. A window next to the seat showed the spaceport outside, where workers loaded supplies onto different ships. Marcus put his bag in the storage area above his seat and sat down. The chair was soft and welcoming after his long trip to get here. He had traveled for 2 days from his home on Mars Colony, taking 3 different ships to reach this spaceport. Now he could finally relax. "Welcome aboard the Stellar Dawn," said a voice from the entertainment screen. "We will begin our journey to the Kepler system in 30 minutes. Please make sure your safety belts are secure." Marcus looked around at the other passengers in premium class. Most were aliens wearing clothes that probably cost more than he made in a month. A few looked at him with curious eyes, as if wondering how a human had gotten into their section of the ship. He ignored their stares and started reading a book on his personal tablet. The ship's engines began to warm up. Marcus could feel a gentle vibration through the floor. Soon they would leave the spaceport and head into open space. He closed his eyes and imagined himself lying on a beach, listening to alien birds singing in strange trees. "Excuse me, is someone sitting here?" Marcus opened his eyes. A woman was standing in the aisle next to his row. She was human with blonde hair and expensive clothes. Jewelry sparkled on her wrists and neck. Her voice had the accent of someone from the wealthy colonies near Earth. "That's my seat," Marcus said, pointing to the chair across from his. 12B, right? The woman looked at her ticket and frowned. "No, this says 47C. That's in standard class." She said the words standard class like they tasted bad in her mouth. "Then your seat is in standard class," Marcus said politely. "This is premium class." The woman's face turned red. "There must be some mistake. I always fly premium class. My father owns 3 shipping companies. I'm Amanda Clark." She said her name like Marcus should recognize it. He didn't. I'm sorry, but there's no mistake with my ticket, Marcus said. I paid for this seat. Amanda Clark looked around the premium class section, then back at Marcus. Her eyes moved over, his simple clothes and old travel bag. Are you sure you're in the right place? She asked. Maybe you would be more comfortable in standard class. It's probably more suitable for you. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. He had heard words like this before. The way she said suitable made her meaning very clear. I'm exactly where I belong, he said, keeping his voice calm. I have a valid ticket for seat 12A. Amanda's face got redder. She looked around for a flight attendant. When she saw one, she waved her hand in the air. Excuse me, I need help here. The flight attendant came over quickly. It was one of the Centauri with blue-gray skin and large eyes. How may I help you, ma'am? There's been a terrible mistake, Amanda said, pointing at Marcus. This man is sitting in premium class, but I think he belongs in standard class. I need a premium class seat, and I'm sure he would be happier with people more like himself. That flight attendant looked at Marcus, then at Amanda. Its large eyes seemed to calculate something. Let me see your tickets, please. Marcus handed over his ticket without a word. Amanda did the same, but kept talking. My family has business connections with the Centauri Trade Federation. We've been customers for years. I'm sure you can work something out. The flight attendant looked at both tickets carefully. Sir, your ticket is correct for seat 12A, it said to Marcus. Then it turned to Amanda. Ma'am, your ticket is for seat 47C in standard class. But that's impossible, Amanda said, her voice getting louder. I always fly premium class. There must be an error in your computer system. Other passengers were starting to look at them. Marcus felt uncomfortable with all the attention, but he wasn't going to give up his seat. He had paid for it fairly, and he had every right to sit there. Perhaps we can make an arrangement, the flight attendant said slowly. Sir, would you be willing to move to standard class? We could offer you a small credit for future travel. Marcus looked at the flight attendant with surprise. Why would I move to a worse seat when I paid for this one? For customer satisfaction, the flight attendant said. Sometimes it is better to be flexible. Marcus realized what was really happening. They wanted him to move not because of any rules or fairness, but because Amanda Clark had money and connections, because she was white and he was black, because they thought she was more important than he was. No, Marcus said firmly. I'm staying in my seat. The flight attendant's face showed confusion when Marcus refused to move. It was clear that the creature had expected him to give up his seat without any trouble. Amanda Clark's mouth fell open with shock. What did you say? Amanda asked, her voice getting higher. You're refusing to help solve this problem? There is no problem, Marcus said calmly. I have the right seat. You have the right seat. Your seat is in standard class. The flight attendant looked nervous. Other passengers were watching now, and some were starting to whisper among themselves. Marcus could hear them speaking in different, alien languages, but he could guess what they were saying. Sir, please be reasonable, the flight attendant said. Ms. Clark is a very important customer. Her family does a lot of business with our company. Surely you can understand that we want to keep our best customers happy. Marcus felt anger building in his chest, but he kept his voice steady. I'm a customer too. I paid the same price for my ticket as anyone else in premium class. Why should I be the one to move? Amanda stepped closer to Marcus's seat. Because some people should know their place, she said in a quiet voice that only he could hear. You don't belong here with your kind of people. Marcus looked directly into her eyes. What kind of people? Amanda's face turned red again. She realized that other passengers might have heard her. I just meant that. You meant exactly what you said, Marcus replied. He turned to the flight attendant. I'm staying in my seat. If you have a problem with that, I suggest you find your supervisor. The flight attendant made a clicking sound that might have been a sigh. Please wait here. I will get the chief steward. As the flight attendant walked away, Amanda sat down in the empty seat next to Marcus. Look, let's be practical about this, she said, trying to sound friendly. I'll give you money. How much do you want? 500 credits? 1,000? Seat is not for sale, Marcus said. Everyone has a price, Amanda said. 2,000 credits. That's probably more than you make in a month. Marcus turned to look at her. You don't know anything about me or what I do. I know you're not the kind of person who usually sits in premium class, she said. Maybe you saved up for a long time, or maybe someone gave you this ticket as a gift. Either way, 2,000 credits is real money. You could use it. You're right about one thing, Marcus said. I did save up for a long time. 8 months. I worked extra hours and didn't buy things I wanted so I could afford this trip. That's exactly why I'm not giving up my seat. Before Amanda could answer, the chief steward arrived. This alien was taller than the first flight attendant, with darker blue skin and gold markings on its face that showed high rank. Its name tag, said Zakthul. Good evening, Zakthul said in perfect English. I understand there is a seating issue? Yes, Amanda said quickly. This man is in my seat. Well, not exactly my seat, but he should move to standard class so I can sit here. I'm Amanda Clark. My father is Richard Clark of Clark Shipping Industries. Zakthul's large eyes showed recognition at the name. Ah, yes. Clark Shipping Industries. Your family transports goods for many of our companies. That's right, Amanda said with a smile. We've been partners for years. I'm sure you can work something out. Zakthul turned to Marcus. Sir, I must ask for your cooperation. Ms. Clark is a very valued customer. Her family's business is important to our trade federation. Perhaps you would accept a free upgrade on your next flight if you move to standard class now? Marcus shook his head. I paid for this seat. I'm staying in this seat. Sir, you are being very difficult, Zakthul said. Its voice was still polite, but Marcus could hear the threat underneath. We have regulations about disruptive passengers. If you continue to cause problems, we may have to remove you from the flight. Other passengers were definitely watching now. Marcus could see some humans looking uncomfortable. A few seemed like they wanted to say something, but they stayed quiet. The alien passengers looked annoyed that their boarding was being delayed. How am I being disruptive? Marcus asked. I'm sitting in my assigned seat with my valid ticket. I haven't raised my voice or bothered anyone. You are refusing to cooperate with crew instructions, Zakthul said. That is considered disruptive behavior. What instructions? Marcus asked. You haven't given me any official instructions. You've made requests that I help you solve someone else's problem. That's different. Amanda was getting frustrated. This is ridiculous. Do you know who I am? Do you know what kind of connections my family has? She stood up and spoke louder so other passengers could hear. My family does business all over this sector. We know people in the Trade Federation, in the shipping guilds, in the resort companies. One word from me can cause a lot of trouble for people who don't cooperate. Now she was making threats openly. Marcus felt the eyes of every passenger in premium class watching him. Some of the humans looked ashamed. A few aliens nodded like they agreed with Amanda. Are you threatening me? Marcus asked quietly. I'm explaining reality, Amanda said. Some people in this galaxy have power, and some people don't. Smart people figure out which group they're in. Zakthul seemed uncomfortable with how direct Amanda was being, but it was clear which side the chief steward was on. Sir, for the last time, will you please move to standard class? We can offer you a meal voucher and priority boarding on your return flight. Marcus looked around at all the faces watching him. He saw fear in some of the human passengers. He saw expectation in the alien faces, like they were waiting for him to do what they thought he should do. He saw smugness on Amanda's face like she had already won. No, Marcus said firmly. I will not move. Zakthul's expression hardened. Then I'm afraid we have a problem, sir. You are disrupting our flight operations. If you continue to refuse crew instructions, we will have no choice but to contact security. Contact whoever you want, Marcus said. I'm not moving. Amanda laughed. You're making a big mistake. Do you think anyone is going to help you? Look around. Even the other humans aren't supporting you. You're all alone here. Marcus reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out his personal communicator. Actually, I think I'll make a call myself. A call? Zack Thule asked. Sir, this is not necessary. We can still resolve this situation if you will just be reasonable. Marcus smiled for the first time since the argument started. Oh, I think this call is very necessary. He pressed a button on his communicator. After a moment, a voice answered. Hello. Marcus, the voice said. How's your vacation going? Not as smoothly as I hoped, Lisa, Marcus said. I think I need to talk to Admiral Morrison. Amanda's confident expression began to change as she heard the word Admiral. Zack Thule's large eyes grew even larger. Is there a problem? The voice on the communicator asked. You could say that, Marcus replied, looking directly at Amanda and Zack Thule. I think it's time to make some people understand exactly who they're dealing with. The voice on Marcus's communicator was clear and strong. Everyone in premium class could hear it, even though Marcus was speaking quietly. Marcus? What's going on? The voice asked. You sound stressed. I'm on the Stellar Dawn, and I'm having some trouble with the crew, Marcus said. They want me to give up my premium class seat to someone who thinks she's more important than me. There was a pause. Then the voice said, Put me on speaker, Marcus. Marcus pressed a button on his communicator. Now the voice filled the air around his seat. This is Captain Lisa Williams of the Human Defense Coalition. To whom am I speaking? Zack Thule stepped forward, looking nervous. This is Chief Steward Zack Thule of the passenger liner Stellar Dawn. Captain, there seems to be a misunderstanding. The only misunderstanding, Lisa Williams said, is that you don't seem to know who my brother is. Marcus, are you being treated with respect? Not exactly, Marcus said. They want me to move to standard class so this woman can have my seat. When I refused, they threatened to remove me from the ship. Amanda Clark was staring at the communicator with growing worry. The name Human Defense Coalition was making her face go pale. Chief Steward, Captain Williams said, I suggest you resolve this situation immediately. My brother paid for his seat just like every other passenger. Captain, with respect, Zack Thule said. This is a private matter between passengers and crew. Military personnel have no authority on civilian ships. Lisa Williams laughed, but it wasn't a friendly sound. Marcus, I think we need to call Admiral Morrison. He'll want to hear about this. Good idea, Marcus said. Can you patch him through? Already doing it, his sister replied. Amanda grabbed Zack Thule's arm. Who is Admiral Morrison? She whispered. He's the head of Human Fleet Command, Zack Thule whispered back. Now the chief steward was looking very worried. A new voice came through the communicator. This one was deeper and had the tone of someone used to giving orders. Marcus Williams, the voice said. I hear you're having some travel problems. Hello, Admiral Morrison, Marcus said. Nothing I can't handle, but I thought you should know what's happening. Tell me everything, Admiral Morrison said. Marcus explained the situation calmly. He told the Admiral about Amanda demanding his seat, about the crew taking her side, and about the threats to remove him from the ship. As he talked, more passengers gathered around to listen. Even people from other sections of the ship came to see what was happening. When Marcus finished, Admiral Morrison was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Chief Steward, are you still listening? Yes, Admiral, Zack Thule said in a shaky voice. Do you know who Marcus Williams is? The Admiral asked. He's a passenger on our ship, Zack Thule said. He's much more than that, Admiral, Morrison said. Marcus, why don't you tell them what you do for work? Marcus smiled. I'm an engineer. I work on starship engines. What kind of engines, Marcus? The Admiral asked. Quantum drive engines, Marcus said simply. The effect of these words was immediate. Zack Thule stepped backward like he had been hit. Amanda's face went completely white. Several alien passengers made sounds of surprise in their own languages. For those who don't understand, Admiral Morrison continued, Marcus Williams designed the quantum drive technology that every ship in this part of the galaxy uses, including your ship, Chief Steward. The quantum drive was what made fast space travel possible. Before humans invented it, trips between star systems took months or years. Now they took days or weeks. Every alien civilization used human quantum drive technology because nothing else worked as well. Marcus also designed the quantum communication system that lets us talk across space instantly, the Admiral said. Every government, every company, every military force in known space pays humans to use his inventions. Zakthul was staring at Marcus like he was seeing him for the first time. You're that Marcus Williams? I'm the only Marcus Williams who invented quantum drives, Marcus said. Admiral Morrison wasn't finished. Marcus, I think we need to call Director Carter at the Technology Licensing Bureau. She'll want to know that the Centauri Trade Federation is mistreating the man who makes their entire transportation system possible. That might be a good idea, Marcus said. He was still sitting calmly in his seat, but now everyone was looking at him with very different expressions. A third voice joined the call. This one belonged to a woman who sounded very professional and very angry. This is Director Helen Carter, the voice said. Admiral Morrison filled me in on the situation. Chief Steward, what is the name of your ship and your company? Zakthul could barely speak. The Stellar Dawn. We're owned by Centauri Luxury Lines, which is part of the Centauri Trade Federation. I see, Director Carter said. And you threatened to remove Dr. Marcus Williams from your ship because he wouldn't give up his paid seat? It wasn't. We were trying to customer service, Zakthul stammered. Let me explain something to you, Director Carter said. The Centauri Trade Federation pays the Human Technology Licensing Bureau 50 billion credits every year to use quantum drive technology. That license can be suspended at any time if we determine that human citizens are being mistreated by Centauri companies. 50 billion credits. The number hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. That was more money than most planets made in a year. Furthermore, Director Carter continued, Dr. Williams holds the personal patents on 17 different quantum drive components. If he chooses to revoke Centauri's license to those specific patents, every Centauri ship in space would have to return to port immediately. Amanda Clark was now sitting down, looking like she might be sick. She had tried to intimidate the one human in the galaxy who could shut down interstellar travel with a phone call. Director Carter, Marcus said, I think there's been a communication to Ship Command. They should know what's happening down here. Already taken care of, Director Carter said. Captain Nexera should be getting a priority message from Centauri, Trade Federation headquarters right about now. As if summoned by her words, the ship's communication system crackled to life. Chief Steward Zakthul, report to the bridge immediately, a voice announced. We have received urgent communications from multiple sources regarding a passenger incident. Zakthul looked like he wanted to disappear. Dr. Williams, please accept my deepest apologies. There has been a terrible mistake. Yes, there has, Marcus said. The mistake was thinking that you could treat me differently because of the color of my skin. We will make this right, Zakthul promised. Ms. Clark, you need to return to your assigned seat in standard class immediately. Amanda stood up slowly. This isn't over, she said to Marcus, but her voice had no strength in it. Actually, Admiral Morrison said through the communicator, it is over. Ms. Clark, I suggest you think very carefully about your actions for the rest of this trip. As Amanda walked away toward standard class, Marcus looked around at the other passengers. The humans were staring at him with amazement and pride. The aliens were looking at him with new respect and maybe a little fear. Marcus, his sister Lisa, said through the communicator, enjoy your vacation. I have a feeling it's going to be much more peaceful from now on. Marcus smiled as he settled back into his seat. Thanks for the help, everyone. I'll talk to you later. He turned off his communicator and looked out the window. The stars were waiting for him, and for the first time since boarding, he felt like he could actually relax and enjoy his trip. Marcus settled back into his comfortable seat and opened his book. Around him, the premium class section had become very quiet. Other passengers were whispering to each other, but they kept looking at him with new eyes. Some smiled nervously. When he glanced their way, the ship's communication system was buzzing with activity. Marcus could hear messages coming and going from the bridge. Every few minutes, another announcement would call different crew members to report somewhere. The ship felt like a nest of insects that had been stirred up with a stick. About 10 minutes. After his phone calls ended, the ship's main speaker system crackled to life. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Nexara. We will be delaying our departure by 30 minutes due to some administrative matters that require immediate attention. We apologize for any inconvenience. Marcus smiled to himself. He could imagine what kind of administrative matters were keeping them busy. A flight attendant approached his seat. This one was different from the others he had met. It was smaller, with lighter blue skin and what looked like nervousness in its large eyes. "Dr. Williams?" the attendant said quietly. "My name is Veltar. I wanted to personally apologize for how you were treated today." "Thank you," Marcus said. "I appreciate that. Is there anything I can get for you? Anything at all?" "We want to make sure your journey is comfortable. Just the normal service is fine," Marcus said. "I don't need special treatment, I just want to be treated fairly." Veltar nodded quickly. "Of course, Dr. Williams, but please, if you need anything, just press your call button. Someone will come immediately." After the attendant left, Marcus noticed other changes happening around him. Flight attendants were moving through the premium class section, offering free drinks and snacks to passengers. But they were being especially polite to the human passengers. A few seats away, an elderly human man was getting more attention than he seemed to know what to do with. The human passengers themselves were acting differently too. Before, most of them had kept to themselves, trying not to draw attention. Now, they were sitting up straighter, talking more confidently. One woman even complained when her entertainment screen wasn't working properly, something she probably wouldn't have done an hour ago. Marcus's personal communicator buzzed with a message. It was from Admiral Morrison. "Thought you'd like to know. Centauri Trade Federation just called an emergency meeting with all their ship captains. They're very worried about keeping their technology licenses. Enjoy your vacation." Marcus was reading the message when he heard familiar voices approaching. He looked up to see Zakthul returning, but this time the chief steward wasn't alone. Walking beside him was a tall alien with silver skin and elaborate gold decorations on its uniform. This had to be someone very important. "Dr. Williams," Zakthul said, sounding much more respectful than before. "Please allow me to introduce Captain Nexara, the commanding officer of the Stellar Dawn." Captain Nexara stepped forward and did something Marcus had never seen an alien do before. The captain bowed deeply, in the way that humans might bow to show great respect. "Dr. Williams," the captain said in perfect English, "I have come to personally apologize for the treatment you received from my crew. What happened today was completely unacceptable." "Thank you, Captain," Marcus said. "I appreciate you taking the time to come here." "It is the least I can do," Captain Nexara said. "I have just finished a very long conversation with the executives of the Centauri Trade Federation. They wanted to make absolutely certain that we understand the importance of treating all human passengers with the utmost respect." The captain paused, then continued. "Dr. Williams, I hope you know that your inventions have changed life for billions of beings across the galaxy. Without quantum drive technology, none of this would be possible." The captain gestured around the luxury ship. "We are all in your debt." Marcus felt a bit uncomfortable with all the attention. "I just did my job as an engineer. I wanted to make space travel better for everyone. And you succeeded beyond imagination," Captain Nexara said. "Dr. Williams, I would like to personally ensure that the rest of your journey is perfect. We are moving you to our finest suite, and all of your meals and services will be complimentary." "That's not necessary," Marcus said. "I just want to be treated the same as everyone else." "I understand your humility," the captain said, "but please allow us to show our gratitude. It would be an honor to have you as our guest." Marcus could see that refusing would probably cause more problems than accepting. "All right, Captain, thank you." As crew members began moving Marcus's belongings to a larger suite, other passengers watched with fascination. The humans looked proud, like Marcus's success reflected well on all of them. The alien passengers seemed to be reassessing every human they could see. Marcus's new suite was amazing. It had a bedroom, a sitting area, and a private bathroom that was bigger than his apartment on Mars Colony. The windows showed a perfect view of space, and there was even a small kitchen area stocked with foods from different worlds. But the most interesting part was what happened to the other human passengers. As word spread through the ship about who Marcus was, the crew began treating all humans differently. Flight attendants who had barely noticed human passengers before were now asking if they needed anything. The restaurant started offering human food options that hadn't been on the menu before. Marcus heard from Veltar that Amanda Clark was having a very different experience. Her complaints about standard class were being ignored. When she demanded to speak to the captain, she was told he was too busy. Her threats about her family's business connections were met with polite smiles and no action. She tried to get her seat changed 3 times, Veltar told Marcus when bringing him dinner. Each time we explained that all passengers must remain in their assigned seats for safety reasons. Marcus almost felt sorry for Amanda. Almost that evening, Marcus received another message on his communicator. This one was from Director Carter. Marcus, you should know that your little incident has started something bigger. We're getting reports from human passengers all over the galaxy about improved treatment on alien ships. It seems like word is spreading fast that humans aren't to be pushed around anymore. Well done. Marcus looked out his suite window at the stars streaming past. The quantum drive engines were working perfectly, pushing the ship faster than light toward their destination. In a few days he would be relaxing on alien beaches under foreign suns. But maybe the most important part of this trip had already happened. For years, humans had been the newest members of galactic civilization, often treated as less important than older alien races. Today that had changed a little bit. Marcus hadn't just stood up for himself. Without meaning to, he had stood up for every human trying to make their way in an alien galaxy. And judging by the messages he was getting from friends across human space, people were noticing. He smiled as he prepared for bed in his luxury suite. Tomorrow would bring new adventures, but tonight he could rest, knowing that he had made a difference. The stars kept shining as the stellar dawn continued its journey, carrying its passengers toward new worlds and new possibilities. Marcus woke up in his luxury suite to the sound of his communicator buzzing with messages. He had slept better than he had in months on the comfortable bed, but the constant flow of communication told him that the rest of the galaxy had been very busy while he rested. The first message was from Admiral Morrison. Marcus, hope you slept well. We've got a formal hearing scheduled for this morning. The Galactic Commerce Authority wants to review what happened on your ship. You'll be testifying via quantum link from your suite. Marcus sat up in bed and looked out the window. The stars were still streaming past as the stellar dawn continued toward the resort colonies. It was hard to believe that less than 24 hours ago, he had been fighting for his right to keep his seat. The second message was from Director Carter. The Centauri Trade Federation is in full panic mode. They've called emergency meetings with all their department heads. 3 other alien companies have also requested meetings to review their human passenger policies. You've started something big, Marcus. After washing and getting dressed, Marcus had breakfast in his suite. The food was excellent, much better than what he had expected to eat in premium class. As he ate, he watched the news on his entertainment screen. The story was already spreading across human colonies. Human engineer stands up to discrimination in space, read one headline. Quantum drive inventor forces alien company to apologize, said another. Marcus was surprised by how fast the news had traveled. At exactly 10 o'clock, his communicator activated for the hearing. The screen showed a large room with representatives from many different organizations. Marcus could see humans, Centauri, and several other alien species sitting around a curved table. Dr. Williams, said a human woman, at the center of the table. I'm Judge Patricia Stone of the Galactic Commerce Authority. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for including me, Marcus said. We're here to review the incident that occurred on the Stellar Dawn yesterday. Judge Stone continued. We have representatives from the Human Technology Licensing Bureau, the Centauri Trade Federation, the Passenger Rights Commission, and several other organizations. Marcus noticed that Captain Nexara was at the table, along with Zach Thule, who looked very nervous. At the far end, he could see Amanda Clark sitting with what looked like expensive lawyers. Dr. Williams, please tell us in your own words what happened. Judge Stone said. Marcus told his story simply and clearly. He explained how he had boarded with a valid ticket, how Amanda Clark had demanded his seat, and how the crew had threatened to remove him when he refused to move. As he spoke, the people at the table took notes and asked occasional questions. "Do you have any evidence of this incident?" asked a Centauri representative who looked worried. "The entire event was recorded by the ship's security cameras," Judge Stone said. "We've already reviewed the footage." She pressed a button, and screens around the room showed the security video from the day before. Marcus watched himself sitting calmly in his seat while Amanda Clark and Zachthul became increasingly aggressive. The video clearly showed Marcus being polite and reasonable while the crew took Amanda's side. "The recording speaks for itself," Judge Stone said when the video ended. Dr. Williams was clearly discriminated against based on his race, and the crew violated multiple passenger rights regulations. A human representative from the Passenger Rights Commission spoke up. "This isn't just about one incident. We've been getting reports from human travelers all over the galaxy about similar treatment. This case represents a pattern of discrimination that needs to be addressed." The Centauri representative looked even more worried. "The Centauri Trade Federation does not support discrimination of any kind. This was an isolated incident involving individual crew members who acted against company policy." "If that's true," said Director Carter, appearing on another screen, "then you won't object to our review of your passenger service records for the past 5 years. Marcus could see the Centauri representative's skin turn a darker shade of blue. "Of course not. We welcome any review." Judge Stone turned her attention to the crew members. "Chief Steward Zachthul, you threatened to remove Dr. Williams from the ship. Can you explain your reasoning?" Zachthul stood up slowly. "Your Honor, I was trying to satisfy a valued customer. Ms. Clark's family has business relationships with our company. I thought moving Dr. Williams would solve the problem, with minimal disruption. So you decided that one passenger was more important than another based on their business connections?" Judge Stone asked. Yes, Your Honor. I made a mistake. A mistake that could have cost your company 50 billion credits in licensing fees," Director Carter said from her screen. "Not to mention damaging relations between humans and the Centauri Trade Federation." Now Judge Stone looked at Amanda Clark. "Ms. Clark, you demanded that Dr. Williams give up his seat. You also made threats about your family's business connections. Do you have anything to say?" Amanda stood up, flanked by her lawyers. "Your Honor, I was simply trying to resolve a seating mix-up. I never intended to discriminate against anyone." Judge Stone played another section of the security video. This time the audio was turned up so everyone could hear Amanda saying that Marcus should know his place and that certain people don't belong in premium class. "Does that sound like someone trying to resolve a seating mix-up?" Judge Stone asked. Amanda's lawyers whispered frantically in her ear, but she didn't answer. "Based on our review of the evidence," Judge Stone announced, "this tribunal finds that serious violations occurred. Chief Steward Zachthul and the involved crew members will be immediately terminated from their positions and banned from working in interstellar passenger transport for 5 years. Zachthul's large eyes grew even larger. "Your Honor, please." "The decision is final," Judge Stone said. "Your actions put your company at risk and violated the basic rights of a passenger." She turned to Amanda Clark. "Ms. Clark, while you are not an employee of the transportation company, your behavior was unacceptable. We are forwarding our findings to the business licensing authorities in your home system." Amanda went pale. "What does that mean?" Her lawyers leaned over to whisper something in her ear. Amanda's face went even whiter. Judge Stone continued. "Furthermore, the Centauri Trade Federation will implement new training programs for all passenger service staff within 60 days. They will also establish a complaint system specifically for discrimination issues." The Centauri representative nodded quickly. "We agree to all terms, Your Honor." "Dr. Williams," Judge Stone said, "on behalf of the Galactic Commerce Authority, I apologize for what you experienced. Your dignity in handling the situation has helped improve conditions for travelers throughout the galaxy." Marcus felt proud but also humble. "Thank you, Judge Stone. I just wanted to be treated fairly." "You've accomplished much more than that," she said. This hearing is now concluded. As the screens went dark, Marcus realized that his vacation had turned into something much bigger than he had ever imagined. But maybe that was okay. Sometimes standing up for yourself meant standing up for everyone. His communicator buzzed with another message. This one was from his sister Lisa. Proud of you, big brother. Enjoy the rest of your trip. You've earned it. Marcus smiled as he looked out at the stars. The stellar dawn was still carrying him toward his vacation, but now he was traveling as more than just another passenger. He was traveling as someone who had made a difference. 3 days later, Marcus stood on the golden beaches of Kepler 442b, watching 2 alien suns set over an ocean that sparkled like liquid diamonds. The warm sand felt good between his toes, and the gentle waves made a peaceful sound as they rolled onto the shore. For the first time in years, he felt completely relaxed. His communicator had been buzzing all day with messages from across the galaxy, but he had turned it off to enjoy the sunset. Tomorrow he would deal with interviews and meeting requests. Tonight he just wanted to be a tourist enjoying his vacation. The resort was beautiful. Crystal towers rose from tropical gardens filled with plants from dozens of different worlds. Floating walkways connected different sections of the complex, and gentle music from various alien cultures played in the background. Marcus had his own villa overlooking the ocean, courtesy of the Centauri Trade Federation, who were still trying to make amends for what had happened on the ship. As he walked back toward his villa, Marcus noticed something interesting. The resort was full of human families enjoying their vacations. Children played in the pools while their parents relaxed in comfortable chairs. Human couples walked hand in hand along the beaches. All of them seemed confident and happy, not like the nervous, careful humans he had seen on the ship just a few days ago. At dinner that night, Marcus sat in the resort's main restaurant. The menu offered food from many different worlds, including several new human dishes that hadn't been available when he arrived. The alien staff were polite and professional to all the human guests, treating them with the same respect they showed to wealthy alien tourists. "Dr. Williams," a voice said behind him. Marcus turned to see a human family approaching his table. The father was holding the hand of a small girl who looked about 8 years old. "I'm sorry to bother you," the man said. "My name is Pete Johnson, and this is my daughter Katie. We heard about what happened on your ship. We wanted to thank you." "Thank me for what?" Marcus asked. "For standing up," Pete said. "Katie and I were on a transport ship last month, and they tried to make us move to a worse section because a group of alien businessmen wanted our seats. We gave up and moved because we didn't want trouble. After hearing your story, I wish we had been braver." Marcus looked down at the little girl. "What do you think, Katie? Should people have to give up things they paid for just because someone else wants them?" Katie shook her head seriously. "No, that's not fair." "You're absolutely right," Marcus said. "And now, because of what happened on my ship, that won't happen to you and your dad anymore." Pete smiled. "That's what we heard. The new rules say that passengers can't be moved from their seats unless there's a real safety problem." After the family left, Marcus turned his communicator back on. The messages that flooded in told an amazing story. Admiral Morrison had sent a report about changes across human space. "Marcus, you started something incredible. The Galactic Commerce Authority has created new passenger rights laws that apply to all transportation companies. No passenger can be forced to change seats based on their race, species, or economic status. Companies that violate these rules will lose their licenses." Director Carter's message was even more impressive. "The incident on the Stellar Dawn has been studied by transportation companies throughout the galaxy. They're all reviewing their policies to make sure they treat human passengers fairly. 3 companies have already hired human consultants to train their staff on proper customer service." But the message that made Marcus smile the most came from his sister Lisa. "Big brother, you should see the news reports from Earth. They're calling you a hero. More importantly, human families are booking trips to places they never felt welcome before. You didn't just win a fight about a seat. You won respect for all of us." Over the next few days, Marcus enjoyed his vacation while watching the changes his actions had created. News reports showed human passengers boarding alien ships with confidence. Transportation companies were advertising their new human-friendly policies. Some companies were even competing to see who could provide the best service to human travelers. The most surprising change was in how humans saw themselves. For years, many humans had felt like second-class citizens in the galaxy, grateful just to be allowed on alien ships and planets. Now they were standing up for their rights and demanding fair treatment. Marcus received a message from Amanda Clark's lawyers. She wanted to apologize in person and make a financial settlement. Marcus declined both offers. He didn't want her money, and her apology would only be because she was in trouble, not because she was sorry. Instead, he learned that Amanda's business connections were abandoning her. Companies that had worked with her family for years were ending their contracts. Nobody wanted to be associated with someone who had created such a public incident involving human rights. On his last day at the resort, Marcus sat in the same spot where he had watched the sunset on his first night. This time he wasn't alone. Dozens of human families were enjoying the beach around him. Children built sandcastles while their parents relaxed and talked. Everyone seemed comfortable and happy. A group of alien tourists walked past, and Marcus noticed something remarkable. They nodded politely to the human families, treating them as equals rather than curiosities. The change in attitude was subtle but unmistakable. Marcus's communicator buzzed with one final message. It was from Judge Stone of the Galactic Commerce Authority. Dr. Williams, I wanted you to know that the changes we implemented after your case have already prevented 17 similar incidents across the galaxy. Human passengers are reporting much better treatment on all major transportation lines. Your courage has made travel safer and more dignified for millions of people. As Marcus packed his bags for the trip home, he reflected on what had happened. He had boarded the Stellar Dawn just wanting a peaceful vacation. Instead, he had found himself in a situation that tested everything he believed about fairness and dignity. The choice to stand his ground hadn't been easy. It would have been simpler to move to standard class and avoid the confrontation, but sometimes the right choice isn't the easy choice. Now, as he prepared to return to his work on Mars Colony, Marcus knew that the galaxy was a little bit different than it had been a week ago. Human travelers could board ships with confidence. Alien companies understood that treating humans poorly would have serious consequences. And perhaps most importantly, humans themselves had learned that they didn't have to accept unfair treatment just because they were new to galactic civilization. The Stellar Dawn arrived to take him home, with a completely new crew trained in the latest passenger rights policies. As Marcus boarded, the captain personally welcomed him aboard and assured him that his journey would be comfortable. Marcus smiled as he settled into his seat. It was the same seat he had fought for on the way here, but now it felt different. It wasn't just a place to sit during his trip. It was a symbol of progress, dignity, and the idea that everyone deserved to be treated with respect. As the ship prepared for departure, Marcus looked out the window at the beautiful resort planet he was leaving behind. Then he opened his book and began to read, ready for whatever adventures awaited him among the stars.